talking about the simplest operation in programming, which is giving output to the user, how to display output to the user. Okay. Any programming course that you will take in any programming language, the first thing you will learn is output, because output is the easiest part. You have some data and you want to output this data to the user. Okay. How do we do this? Okay. We'll start simple. We'll start simple by showing you how to show your result, how to show data to the user in a message box, in a message box that is displayed to the user. Okay, then we'll make it more complex and we'll see other types of output. But we will start with the message box. Okay. Right. So what is a message box? Let's do another code, another piece of code, and we'll see how it works, right? Anyone who starts in programming, if you are a newbie in programming, the first program that you will create is the Hello World program. Hello World is a program that will display Hello World to everyone in the world, to tell them, here I am, a new programmer. I have just learned programming, and therefore I'm saying hello to everyone. Okay, so Hello World is the traditional first program in programming courses. So we are going to do a Hello World program right now, and while doing the Hello World, I will explain to you the function we use to provide output to the user. Okay. So I'm going to create a new macro. I will go to Excel, create a new macro, record the macro. I will call this Hello World. No spaces or anything. Right, and then press OK, and then stop recording. Okay, so I created a new macro called Hello World now. Okay, right. This is a this program all it does is display the word Hello World. So it's very simple. I'm not going to get input, output, or anything. All I have to do is display a message to the user saying Hello World. This is everything that I want to do. So to do that, we are going to use a VBA function. There is a function in VBA called message box, MSG box. Okay, MSG box. This is a function in VBA. A function in VBA similar to Excel functions. Okay, it's called message box. Okay, and then open parenthesis, and then we are going to enter the message we want to show to the users. In this case, we want to display to the users Hello World, okay, in double quotations, as you can see here, because it's text. Okay, in VBA, like Excel, whenever you use text, you have to put your text in double quotations, as you see here. Okay, whenever you use text in VBA, the text must go in double quotations. Right? So I'm going to display Hello World in a message box. Okay, so the function we will be using is message box. And now let's run this code. Hello World. And that's all about. This is everything about this program. Display Hello World. Okay, so the programming vocabulary or the programming function we use to display something to the user is a message box. Okay. I want you to try it, guys, and let me know if it works. Make sure it's working for everyone. Do it and run it and see if it will work. Doing perfect, right? So congratulations, guys. You are now officially programmers. Okay. Yes, Robin, you are absolutely right. You can write whatever message you want here, and we will look at some examples as we go through the code today. So this is only our initial, just getting you warmed up. We haven't done anything so far. Okay. Okay. Right. So let's make things a little bit more interesting, right? But the key thing here, guys, again, a message box is the tool we use to display message to the users directly in a message box like this. This is called in Excel or in Windows, this is called a message box. Okay. This small dialog box or this small box that you see in front of you, this is called a message box. This is not just in Excel, this is in any Windows application. This is called a message box. Okay. We just press OK and it's gone. Right? This is called a message box. Right. So let's make things a little bit harder. Let's do this. I'm going to again to share a whiteboard because I will talk about another problem that we will work together, and I want you to understand the design before we move to Excel. We move to Visual Basic for applications. So I'm going to share a whiteboard. Okay. And what we want to do now is we want to write a code to display, okay, no, to store your first name, last name, and then display your full name in a message box. Okay. Right. So here we are going to create a code. We are going to write a macro that is going to take in your first name. You will enter your first name, your last name, and then the program will display your full name. So if, for example, in my case, Muhammad is my first name, Abu Zahra is the last name, combining them together will be Muhammad Abu Zahra. Okay. So we want to do this, right? So the first thing is our input is going to be the first name and last name, right? And then there is no processing. The processing is actually combining the names together. Okay, so the processing will how the output is going to be displaying the full name. Okay, right. So if you look here, guys, you will see that at least we need two variables: a variable to hold our first name and another variable to hold our last name. Okay, and then I will show you how to combine them together, how to concatenate the two names together in the message box. Right. So this is what we will do. So we have two variables here, two variables for first name, last name, right? And first name and last name are text, right? So we are going to use string variable to hold them. String is used to hold text, right? So again, let's try and do this in coding, right? So I'm going to go back to my screen. Okay. And I will go to Excel and create a new macro. I will call it display full name. Okay. You can call it whatever. Names are up to you as long as you keep the rules of naming, right? No spaces, no special characters. Start with a letter. Okay, then okay, and then stop recording. Okay. So I created my new macro. I will go to a new line. Okay, and then I am going to start writing my code. So the variables, the first thing is the variables. So I'm going to create two variables to hold my first name and last name. So dim is a vocabulary word. This is a word that you need to know, right? There is nothing to explain about what the word means. You need to understand the function of dim. Dim is a keyword or vocabulary word in VBA used to define or to create variables. So this is a string. The variables are strings, so I will call them str first name as string, right? And then dim str last name as string as well. Okay, so I created my variables, right? And then to simplify things, we are going to store your first name and last name. So I will do it like this: str first name equals Muhammad. I will put it hard coded. So I will not get it as input from the user. I will hard code this in my program, right? And then str last name equals Abu Zahra. Use your own names, guys. Okay? Right? So this is where I'm getting input from the user. So let me add a comment about that. Right? And then I'm going to concatenate these two names together and display the results in a message box. So let's see how we do this. So to do this, we write message box. This is our key name, message box. And then inside the message box, I will insert the variable name. So I will insert str first name. Okay, this is the variable containing my first name. Okay, str first name, and then space. And then to concatenate functions in message boxes, we use the ampersand or and symbol. So this symbol, and or ampersand, and right. I need a space between the first name and last name, so I will insert a space explicitly like this, and then another ampersand, and then my last name, str last name. Okay, and that's it. Right. So the message box will combine the first name and then a space and then the last name. Okay. Now there is something that is it's easy for me, but I want it to be easy for you too, right? Here I did not use the actual first name. I did not use Muhammad. I used the variable containing Muhammad. This is common and this is correct in programming. In programming, instead of using the actual data, we can use the variable that contains this data. Okay, so when I use str first name, what my program will do is it's going to replace the variable name with the data inside this variable. Okay, so when my computer code, when my program sees str first name, it will remove str first name and we replace it with Muhammad. When it sees str last name, it's going to replace str last name with Abu Zahra. Okay, right? So this is the way to go. Variables represent the data inside them. When you use the variable name, you are referring to the data inside this variable. Okay. So let's run and see what's going to happen. My full name is displayed successfully, Muhammad Abu Zahra. Okay. Any questions here, guys? So I want you to go through the code, think about it for a minute, because the next thing we do will be practice that you guys get to do. So, yes, Brianna, it is cool. Programming is exciting, and it's one of the greatest things. If you like it and get into it, it's really nice because you can create lots of cool stuff without doing anything physical, right? You can, sky is your limit. You can create